Welcome to the third part in our rocket modeling tutorials. Now it's time to add a window to this rocket, and like in Photoshop, in Blender you can do the same thing in multiple different ways. So I will show one way how you can add this window. And I want this window to be curved to follow the curvature of the rocket. So in order to do that, first I will go and press Shift A to add a mesh. I will add a circle here. And where is the circle? We have no idea. But when you cannot find something, first make sure that the cursor is visible here in the center, or that you can see it, because if the circle is here and the cursor is here, the circle will be here. Obviously our circle is inside of the rocket, so we can go and enable the X-ray view and see, okay, this is our circle. What we want to do is to rotate the circle on X-axis. So press R, press X and rotate it by 90 degrees. Just type 90 and press enter. This is it. And also I want to move it G and Y to move it on Y-axis all the way in the front. And also I will press 3 to go to the side view. Zoom it a little bit. I don't need X-ray view anymore. And now I want to make this smaller. So S for scale. Scale it down and press G, move it up somewhere here and press R and just rotate it, press G and move it somewhere here. So I want my window to be somewhere here. It's really cool. If I want it smaller, I will press S and make it a little bit smaller. So maybe a little bit smaller. So it's personal preference, however you want. And this is cool. But now we want to curve this in order to follow the curvature of the rocket. So how to do that? Well, we need to add one modifier. So to do that, let's go here to modifiers and add shrink wrap modifier. Check it out. But before we do that, I want to apply the scale of the rocket. So what is that? Let me explain real quickly. If I select the rocket and go to item here, you can see my scale is 113 because we make the rocket 3 times higher than it was before. And the scale the scale always has to be 1 everywhere. So if something is off and the texture is not applying well, or something else is missing, probably the scale is off, probably, I don't know. But that's the first thing that I always like to check. So we can do that by pressing Ctrl or Command A, and then we can apply location, rotation, scale, or all transformation, etc. So I will go with the scale and see everything is 1. So we are ready to proceed. So let's go back to our circle here. Let's go to front view. Actually, let's go to side view right here. And we use this shrink wrap modifier. It's already here, but now we need to choose the target around what this circle will wrap around. So click on this eyedropper tool, click the cube, and you can see, if we press Shift Z, you can see how beautifully this is wrapped around our rocket. But if you go to the front view, it's not that cool, but it's not bad. But it can be better, because now the method is nearest surface points. This will wrap around the nearest points, but we want to project it down a rocket. We just need to change the method to project, and see, nothing happens because we want to go to negative, and let's see, Z, it's okay. If this doesn't work, just check which one works, and Z is okay. So we project it on the negative axis, Z, and this is cool. Now that we have this, I will go and apply it. So this arrow down and apply it, because I don't need anymore to have this non-destructive. I want this to be like that. Also, I can go now to edit mode of the circle. So remember, tab and up like this, and that's okay. But also we can go directly to the vertex mode like this. We can see vertex. And now I want to extrude E and S to extrude this. Something like this looks cool. And also go to face mode, because we want to extrude these faces. So tab and right, and Alt and select all the faces. Okay, then again E to extrude. This time we'll extrude normally like this. This looks decent. And go back to object mode, Shift Z, go back to normal shading. And I really like it. Again, the edges are jagged. We need to add subdivision modifier. There is a shortcut for that. It's really cool. Control 1, Control 2, Control 3. So Control 1 to add a subdivision modifier here with 1 levels of viewport. If you undo, if you press Control 2, it will add with 2, etc. So this is really cool. I want 2. And also the shading. I want shade auto smooth. This is it. But I don't want to be like it's this shape. I want to be more flat. So again, going to edit mode and face. Okay, and add these edge loops. Remember that we use edge loops to shrink the space between these edges to make less round. So edge loops, Control or Command R and see where we want to add it. So I want to add it here and push it all the way back. I want this to be completely flat, but this I want to bevel. So I want to go to the edge, Alt and select, and then Control or Command B and bevel this. So I want not too much bevel, but also want to add few more with the mouse scroll, few more of these edges. So I want to bevel it something, maybe something like this. Looks cool. And also this inside edge, Alt and click, and I want to bevel it, but less than this one. Otherwise I could select both of them and do the same. So Control B to bevel it, and mouse wheel all the way down, because I just want to add one of these, one level of bevels. So, or two, one will work perfectly. Press OK, or press OK. There is no OK to press, just press the mouse button and go back to object mode, and you can see how this cool looks. If you need to see only this, to isolate it in a view, there is a keyboard shortcut, and you can see it's just /, and you're seeing just this. I really like it. Press it again to go back to this view. Also, there is another shortcut. If you want to focus on something, to, for example, you're somewhere here working on different elements, etc., but you want to see this one, you can press on the numerical keyboard like dot, and here it is. Or you can press F on a keyboard, and also it will focus right there. Rocket, F, focus the rocket. Window, focus on window. That's really cool. Now, we need to add actually the glass part. This is the frame. Let's add the glass part. There are so many ways how you can do it. I will show two just for fun. So if we now add a sphere, here the sphere will be inside of the rocket, and we need to move it up and here to push it. So on the side view up, and then here an S to make it smaller, and then maybe go to this X-ray view and just put it here and scale it down until it's somewhere on the window. So that's one way. Let me show you a smarter way to do the same thing. So smarter way is to select the window, then Shift S and say cursor to active. Remember where the cursor is, the new added mesh will be applied in the center of the cursor. So we want the cursor to be in the center of the window. Shift A, and I will add UV sphere. Perfect. Now if you go to side view, we just need to scale it down, and it's on the right place. Also, if we go to wireframe mode, Shift Z and rotate this something like that, and then scale it S and scale it on the Y-axis. It's not scaling it properly. See, we want to scale on the local axis of the model. So now it's time to introduce different type of axes. We have world axis, global axis, so X, this is not X, this is Z, X and Y. But if the model is rotated, then these axes are still there, but this is a global world axis, but the model has its own local axis. So the X axis, when the model is rotated, it will not be like this, it will be like this. So the Z will be like that, everything will be rotated. So in order to do that, we need another keyboard shortcut. Just double tap the axis that we want to use. Let me explain you. So we rotated this sphere from this all the way to this. So that means that the local Z axis of the sphere is going up and down, because it was like this originally, but we rotated, so that means that local Z axis of the sphere is going like this. In order to use it, you just need to press, for example, we want to scale it on the Z axis, but not this one, not the world, but local. One more time. Voila, here it is. And now just scale it. It's the same for X or Y axis. So we have local and global, and this is it. And if we scale it like this and move it, also we need to move it on the local axis inside a bit and go back Shift Z to regular view. We have our window, and if we shade it smooth, we have our window. So this is one way to add a window. We can probably scale it a little bit up to cover all these imperfections, and this is cool. And I should probably stick only with this window because this is a beginning tutorial for beginners. So I'm tempted to show you another way. Let me show you another way, but if you don't like it, you can use this really easy way. But now this curvature is okay, but I like it a little bit differently. So I will erase this sphere. And now prepare yourself to learn something different. So go back to edit mode. And what I want to do now, see these edges here, I want to select the inner one with Alt and select it as an edge loop. And I want to make a copy of this edge. So to make a copy, press Shift and D to duplicate. Logically, Shift and D. So this is it. Press Escape. And now I want to press P, just P on the keyboard to separate that. You know why the P shortcut? It doesn't have sense, but separate. That's why it's P. I'm joking. I don't know why they put it P, because S is for scale. So separate the selection. Perfect. And then go back to object mode. And here we have this, if you move it as a separate object. Now I want to go to the edit vertex mode. So tab and left to edit vertices, A to select all of them. And now I want to extrude them a little bit. So E to extrude, but then I will press X and then I will move G on double Z, so on local Z axis, and move it a little bit. So this depends how far I want my window to go out. So something like this seems nice. Then I will press scale to scale it in a bit. Okay, because here we have applied subdivision surface. It will subdivide this a little bit. And then I will press F. And it's not so good. Why? Well, because let's first do something else. If you go to the side view, you can see the curvature of these vertices. I want them to be flat, like you cut everything like this. And to do that, we want to scale it as to scale on double Z, so on local Z axis, and press 0 to zero everything out and press enter. So this is it. It's flat, like it's cut it out. Now press F and it will fill this gap. And now I will scale it a little bit less, a little bit more actually. So like that, and I will press Ctrl or Command G to bevel. Ctrl or Command G, don't press that. Ctrl or Command B to bevel this, and this is cool. And if we go back to the object mode, see how beautiful window it is. So I really love this window, and this is the second version of how to create window. Also, there are so many ways how to create window for this rocket, but I like it like that. If I hide this subdivision surface, we go like that, but I like it here. If I go to side view, it's really, really nice, and this is my way of how I like to do it. I can G and double Z and move it a little bit inside if I want to have a little bit more of the frame here, but this is really, really nice. I like it. Okay, now that we have a window, it's time to create the side engine for the rocket, and that will be really quickly now because you already are familiar with how to make a body of a rocket. So I will create, go and create a cube, Shift A, add a cube. I will move this, I'm in the front view, I will move it here. And this time I will go and scale it down, something like this, move it a little bit closer to the rocket. And I want to scale it on the Z axis, so S, Z, and move it up. Something like that probably. And I will repeat the same steps that I did for the rocket. So basically I need to go to the face, so tab and right to the face orientation here, 1 to go to the front view. And I will press Ctrl or Command R to add these edge loops. And I will add 1, 2, I will add 3 of them. Press with the left mouse button and then escape. And then I will go again to the face mode, this one. Press 1 to go to the side view. This one will be scaled, so S for scale, like that. The bottom one, again 1 for the side view, will be also scaled a little bit. And then go to the edge view and Alt and select the whole loop, this one will be a little bit more out. Let's do it like that. And like before, I want to go to the object and then go to modifier, subdivision surface, or press Ctrl 1 or 2, depends how many of these. I want 2 of them. And also go back to edit view, and I want to go actually to the face view here, and I for insert, I want to insert one, then E to extrude. I want to extrude a little bit, and this looks cool. And now I will add these edge loops like before, Control Command R, add one here to make this more sharp, add one here. Also, you know, before adding this one, let me show you, I can go with this and I to insert a little bit more and E to extrude inside like that. And now let's add Control Command R, and if you want this bottom part to be more round, like flat, then you need to add Control Command R the edges here. So you want this space to be narrow, and also another one, this space right here. So Control Command R there. Also here I already added one, but let's see from the side, I want one here, maybe. Yeah, I like it. And let's go back to the object mode. I really like this, so I will go and W or right click and shade auto smooth. Oh, come on, what I did, I don't know. Shade auto smooth. This is cool. So by auto smooth, it will add auto smooth normal here. And I like it. So now I will press G and move it somewhere here. And let's see. I can scale it only on Z axis, whatever, but this looks decent. Maybe scale it a bit and scale it on Z axis a little bit, like that. Looks pretty decent. And now what I like to do is to put it a little bit more down, up, so G and Z, like that, and add this connector part here. So for that I will press Shift A, and whenever you're adding a new mesh here, for now, make sure that you are in an object mode here. You don't want to be in edit mode. You can still add a cube, but that cube is a part of this, so it will apply all the modifiers and everything. You don't want that in this case. Okay, so you're in object mode, add a cube, move it here, and I want to make cube smaller, and G to move it, to put it somewhere here. Okay, and also if I press 7 to go to the top view, you can see I can select both of them and G. Okay, what's happening? Okay, G, not H. H is to hide, Alt H is to unhide. So G and move it here. So we can go to X-ray mode or wireframe mode, for example, move it here. And why I had them there? Well, because I had the cursor right here, which I didn't want it to have. What I should do is to move the cursor in the center, Shift S, and then cursor toward origin, and then I will have this position, but I made a mistake. It doesn't matter, it is not a big mistake. It's cool to have it, so you can also learn on these mistakes. Okay, so I want this to make more narrow, so S and Y, because we want to go on the Y-axis like this. And this will connect these two parts. So also this, if you go to 1 to front view and G to move it, I can put it actually here, S to scale it down, and I can use this right here, 7 to go to the top view, S to scale on the Y. I want this to be more wide, like that. Number 1 to go to the front view. And now what we can do, we can go to edit faces, rotate a little bit, select this face, and again 1 to go to the front view, E to extrude a little bit, and then G to move it, I hide it again, G to move it down. Something like this, looks cool. And if this is okay for us, what we can do now, we can go back to object mode and we can press Ctrl 2 to add subdivision surface modifier, go to the wrench, see, already did it, or as we did it, subdivision surface, and go with number 2. And now I want to shade it smooth, right click or W, shade it smooth. And also what I like to do is to add in the edit face mode, to add these edge loops. So Control Command R, and we can add edge loop here and edge loop here, and also one here that will push all the way in, and one here that I will push all the way in. And in this way, this looks really nice. Also, we can make it a little bit more nicer. So let's isolate this, / and go to face mode, click this, and also shift and click this. So both of these and this, both of these, all these faces. Let's see what is the front face. If you want, make sure to select all the front faces. Just go here on the side view, make sure you are under X-ray, and I like to go to wireframe mode also to see what I'm doing, and just select everything. In that way it will select all the faces. Now I will press S to scale it, Y to scale it on Y-axis, and like that. Go back here. Let's see what we did it. Not bad, but also I want to include these faces too. So this, everything is cool. S, Y, yeah, I want this. I want this. And let's go back to normal view, and let's go and add another loop cut here. Control R, escape, and scale it on Y a little bit in. A little bit like that. Go back to object mode, and this is our shape. Not bad. Go back with the / to go back into this mode, and I really like it. Okay, now it's time to do a few more things, and that's to select this guy right here, and then this guy, and press Control P, and I will parent the first thing that I just selected to second thing. So Control P, parent to object, and that means that I can move this freely, but you can see there is a wire connected to this. There is a line connected to this, so that means that it's parent. But if I select this, I can move both of them. Also, if I select this and then the rocket and press Control P to parent as an object, if I move the rocket, I will move everything. Also the windows, I want to select the glass, the frame, and then the rocket, and parent everything to the last selected object. And then if I move the rocket, voila, everything is moving. Perfect. Also, one more thing is left to do here is actually two things. Go back to the engine and go to front view, and I want to do the same thing. I want to apply the modifier, go to the edge, edit mode, and Alt, click to select this, same like we did here. Alt to select this, and then this, and let's zoom it a little bit, this, and I want to Control B, scroll back until you have only 2 of these, Shift like that, and then press E, S, and Shift Z, because you don't want to do it on the Z axis. So Shift Z, you're excluding Z axis like that. Perfect. Let's go back. Let's see what we did. Not bad, but I also want to add another subdivision surface modifier. And now if you go back here, you can see the normals are on, but this looks crazy, not as we want it, and doesn't have anything with this. See, whatever we do here is not relevant. That's because the subdivision surface also curved all these things, and we want some edges to be sharp. We want to crease edges. So how to do that? This is amazing example here. So we want to go to the edit edge mode, and we want to select the edge that is above. So Alt and select an edge that is below, Alt and select everything. Also Shift, now I will hold in Shift and Alt, select this. So above and below the gap, and here we don't need to do it. And now we need to press Shift and E and just move the mouse like that. And we have here edge crease, and we want to have it 1. Okay, if we have some other number than 1, it will be less visible, but you want to have one. And these menus are temporary menus, so if you press anything else here, the menu will disappear and you cannot bring it back. You can temporarily bring it back once if you press F9 right here, and you have temporary back, so but just once. And you can change this, and then if you do anything else, any other operation, you cannot bring it back. So we want to bring it all the way to 1, go back to object mode, and you can see how beautiful this looks. So we'll take it like that, and then we'll select both of these, go to the top view, and make sure that the cursor is in the center. If not, go press Shift and S, cursor toward origin. And we want to make a copy of a rocket, so Shift D of the engine, Shift D, press Escape, and I want to rotate it, but not here. I want to rotate it around the cursor. So how to do that? Well, you can go right here and change from boundary box center to 3D cursor, and now if you press R to rotate like that, you just want to type 120 and then do the same, Shift D, Escape, R, 120, and voila, we have it. A really cool rocket is going to the end of making, so this is really cool. And now let's go to the next episode where I will introduce a new modifier and we will add a little bit more detail. So click here and see you there.